questions can be about, they don't have to be about the sport presentation. There would be like present questions of the presentation, but they can be about anything that's relevant to your career or any question you have about that. Sure. And I'll stay as long as you. And just another thing, a lot of the questions that I would be answering, they're anonymous. Then in terms of the question, I'm not going to share your name, right? All right. So let's see. First form, let me try. Okay. I consider myself to be introverted, finding it often find it challenging to keep more extroverted colleagues who naturally excel at social settings. How can I use my introverted personality in a law firm? Okay. So in law firms, there's typically three types of people. They're called minders, grinders, and binders. What that means is the minders are the kind of are basically the admin people or managing partners or things like that that watch people and they manage the paralegals, they manage the attorneys, they manage different sorts of people in the firm doing work. And then you have grinders, which are always people doing the work, people doing the work. And then you have binders who are typically people bringing. Those are typically the three types of attorneys that are in law firms. And those are the three types of attorneys that are in law firms. And in general, you're going to fall on the side of one or the other. Typically, people that get into admin are people that people like, but they may not necessarily have a lot of work, and they're just doing that. So then binders is a natural type of personality. So if you're a grinder, your role is to succeed, and you can't bring in work, which you may not be able to, you need to get close to binder. So that's really the job. So every binder out there has people that hand off the work to. They're very proud of. You go into a firm, like I've had this experience before. I go into a firm to ask them if they can potentially represent me in a certain case, and they'll say, "Sure." You'll talk to the binder. The binder will smile and look very professional and so forth, and then they will often bring in this grinder and will say, "This person who has these great qualifications," and so forth, and then they will introduce you to the grinder. Grinders can have great careers. Even if they're not never bringing business. But what the grinders do is they're able to get very close to binders and people that have the work. Then the binder wants to use them for everything. Binder get very attached to them. So almost all firms, so in almost all firms, if you look very best binders have trusted like that. I remember when I was working for this judge based in Michigan, you would always do the same kind of thing. Would have an attorney come in that would have someone close to another more older attorney that kind of brought all the work with them. A binder came into court with them all the time. The binder might talk to the judge or whatever, but the binder would be the one that's doing all the work. So you see this you see this in every major firm. The people that are bringing in the business, people who bring in the work will also work, but most of that, most binders will have grinding work. And it's like that in every market of the country. So if you think that you're very introverted, then all you need to do is you need to get very close to someone who's bringing in the work, or preferably multiple people. And if you do that and you get to be the trusted person of a really good binder, that binder will keep you around to protect you your whole career. If the people with the most business, often when they're moving firms, the binders will always demand to take one or two grinders because they know the type of work that person wants, that person does. They want and demand that they're there. And they, like I said, will often follow them throughout their entire career. It's very interesting how that works. That's something just to be aware. Now, I then wanted to mention a couple other quick points that are very important. If you are a grinder, you can often become a partner in a law firm. People often become partners by being very good grinders, meaning build the most hours, do the best work. So and that's what's expected. So you can be very introverted and do that, and that's perfectly fine. But that typically someone that's a grinder will do that. But the best grinders will always get binders to give them all the work. You can literally be a grinder your whole career. You are able to get close to a really good binder. And then again, almost all binders have non-equity partner counsel grinders that are fine. Okay, as a junior associate in a law firm, I'm keen to distinguish myself early in my career. I've been given opportunities to find means to participate in business development activity, but I often feel overshadowed by more senior colleagues. My personality tends to be more reserved, which affects my confidence in these settings. How can I effectively communicate my value to clients, senior partners, without seeming overly assertive or saying that? Yes, if a junior associate, you're not expected to have any idea about how to develop business. As a matter of fact, your only role in these meetings is they'll do the work or something, or that they brag about your educational accomplishments with the client, whatever, or you'll take notes and be able to give the partners back stuff that they may have missed, or you may help them with different things. So you have no reason to distinguish yourself by attending client meetings, going on business development. The only thing you should be doing is watching. You are not going to be expecting this to develop business for several more years. You just need to watch what people are doing and learn, and you will learn. Well, even though you're not necessarily there, you're not at that point in your career, you will learn how to do all these things by being in these meetings, which to help them learn. There's nothing wrong with being reserved. You should not have confidence in these sort of settings because you have no idea what you're doing. All you can do is show up and like you'll then make sure you understand everything being said, and then use that information to help people give you work in the future. The last thing in the world you want to do is to go into these meetings, communicate your value to the client, unless you're asked a question and a senior associate. Everyone knows that you're a junior attorney. No one expects you to impress clients. They expect you to do work. The senior partners are only impressed with you to the extent you do good work. Your job as a junior associate. So this is something that a lot of people do not realize, but it's actually the most important thing is really you are only there to get training. Getting paid is a bonus. So what does that mean? Junior associates are not expected to get business or to develop clients. You're at one stage of your career where your job is just to be a soldier. No one cares about all this other stuff. Soldier, you're a soldier who follows orders. That's it. We need to be soldier as a junior associate. And that's really your only responsibility to be a soldier and then to learn about what others are doing. You absorb everything by osmosis and you see how other people were doing things, interesting or not, but that's really the only thing that's important as a junior associate is to train to do the best work you can to build up the most hours, and not get laid off. Next question. This person said, I am a new non-equity shareholder with no business. I like what you're saying about having personality. I don't know much about business development or analysis or remote seminar or anything that you recommend for further learning. Yes. The biggest way to there's a lot of different ways to get business. You can read articles. There's a lot of different ways to get business as a non-equity shareholder. But the most important thing, obviously the personality so they can understand, but the most important thing and really the only thing is to be found. So you need to be seen. How do you do that? Well, how do we do? And again, this is what I learned 30 years of this. So how do people do? So what do you do? What do you do to be seen in the brand? The first thing is that you go where, so it could be joining an organization, it could be, there could be a franchise, whatever. Then one of the things that people used to do, which is pretty simple, is you find, if you're a litigator, find out who's being sued, find out who's being sued. That's one way as a litigator. So you can you can write papers in a particular system that looks very well. People often join boards. So I'd had one thing happen where I was once working on this case of this thing down at the community hospital or something. And there had been a partner in this firm I worked in that lived in Downey, board of this, but people join board and then they're seen that way. People, presentations. One of the things that people do, are, LinkedIn, try that they client a lot. People will write articles for write articles about their practice area for legal publications, various or legal publications. People will offer to give advice to companies and things for issues unsolicited. They will create blogs or any of this series from ways that people do for this work. They often will. There was years ago, there was a business development course for attorneys that was very popular, and they were charging thousands of dollars to take it. And essentially what it was like, write down 100 to 200 people, and stay in touch with. That's it. But and these people will know you're a liar or you are a liar. And over time, for business years, that means what that means is those 100 people will know people. Each of those 100 people or whatever know 100 people, and they will know people that are need corporate work or need key work or need food, need real estate transactional work, whatever. And if you stay in touch with those people without even asking for business, they may ask you what you do, but if we stay in touch with them just over time, then those people eventually will refer people to you. It works. And this strategy, by the way, is one of the oldest, most proven tactics. Now, this is not something you can do once, forget about it. You can't just contact them once. You have to continually stay in touch with them. So that's really one of the most important things. I knew an attorney once that used to send out a 5-page update about what he was doing personally with his family in his cases throughout the year. It was very entertaining, with pictures and things, and send it out to people that hardly even knew him. But that got business. So you have to learn how to be found and seen. And honestly, that's one of the most important things that you can do is be seen by people that need your work. And the easiest way, of course, is it's difficult to. You could join associations. You could write papers that are about a unique legal issue. You could give a presentation. People that I've seen that are very good at this will often just have a high level of enthusiasm for something. And with that enthusiasm, that will enable them to bring in work. But they're seen. So you need to be seen. Think about what is a personal injury? So what is a personal injury, by the way, is 95% bringing in the case. They go to Buster, advertise, Google keyword, just what Google app, Facebook app, or whatever. So they're doing everything they can to be seen. Now, that's not going to be always the best thing. That's not always going to be the best for someone who might be corporate attorney. The principle, hey, you need to be seen. So anybody that wants to succeed and has to be seen. Now, I'll just offer one further thing. Is that's having a personality in your team is even more interesting. If someone has a personality out in LA, someone would call themselves Piranha Law, different personal injury attorneys will call them different things. But the better you are being seen, the better off you're going to be. So this, by the way, is just so everyone understands, being seen, all you need to do to become a successful binder. The more you're seen, more people will come to you. Unfortunately, most people, as this person said here, people say, oh, I'm more reserved, introverted. You can still be seen if you're introverted or you're reserved, but you just need to be seen. And that's all you need to do. If you want to be a politician, you can't just hide out and hope for people find you. You have to go to the rally and want to be seen. Anybody that's successful in anything is always better. Given the shift to virtual interviews and remote work, I find it harder to convey my personality forth through the screen. What are some effective ways to ensure that my personality stands out during virtual interviews and remote client meetings, especially providing another in-person interviews are limited? So people are visual, kinetic, and auditory. So these are the 3 types of people. For visual means, if you're talking to someone visual, they will say, I see what you mean. If they're kinetic, they'll say, that sounds like along those words. So you can just see these kind of words that are. I'll just give you some examples, and when you're talking to people, my first piece of advice is very simple. Everyone will talk in one way or another. So when you're in a virtual interview, you want to be able to see how the person's talk. So you mirror talk. I've noticed it's very interesting. I was telling you about this very successful real estate agent I noticed when I was talking to him, if I would go like this, he would go like this. The pocket, he would pocket. If I, made the facial, that's called neuro-linguistic programming, which is really what's talked about. But I also noticed that when I was talking to this just one of these Navy SEALs person not too long ago at a trip to base here, but he did men are talking to the exact same thing. The better you can communicate with people based on understanding whether they're communicating, the better. So when you're trying to build rapport with your strain, if you figure out how to talk, everyone will talk a certain way. Let's say I feel, it sounds good, the most people are that one way or another. You should try to mirror that. Also, with remote work, was very funny. Very few people that interviewed with law firms, I don't know why, you should be putting on a full suit. You should always dress up, or women look good for the interviews. The same thing with me. You want to be very, you also want to always be early. So you show up several minutes early to the interview. And then body language is, yes, it's limited, but body language is only useful if you're trying to uh, do different things. Yeah. So that more important. The other thing I would say too, just about these virtual interviews and so forth, is that you still need to put yourself in a position where you're excited to talk to the person. So a lot of times people just show up to these interviews with no agenda, no agenda. So you need to have an agenda. You need to show up with some sort of agenda. What does that mean? That means when you show up, you think my goal is to what? To think about make person like I our boss says it's an employer be humble, like they want to work. So one of the things that people that do very well in their careers do is they, regardless of whether it's a client or if it's an employer, they're always very humble. They come across as wanting to really work with that person, enthusiastic about it. You get the sense when you're dealing with them that they're really going to put your best interests at heart. They're not going to try to take advantage of you. They're not going to they're not going to be concerned about yourself. They're going to be more concerned. They're not going to be overly concerned with themselves. They're going to be more concerned with you and what you want. I had this most bizarre interview this morning. I was meeting with this woman that wanted to be in a recruiter relations or candidate relations job at the BCG. And her job essentially was going to be to talk to candidates after they got interviews and then talk to the firms to help out with scheduling and kind of getting everyone on the same page. And she said the most amazing thing, I couldn't believe it. I guess she left her current job, and I asked why, and she said, "Hey, I needed better hours because I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I need to prioritize spending time with her." And I said, "Okay, that's okay." And so then I asked her, actually, she was still at her current job, but leaving. And I said, "What's your current schedule like now?" And she said, "I get up at 5 and I'm done my job at 5. I would work 7 in the morning and they need the rest of the day to do my thing." And I couldn't believe it. I was like, how is that even possible? Someone to get a job on her agenda. And she said that and after asking me what I needed, so that when you show up to an interview, you have to tell the person basically, you have to try to get like, what does that mean? I mean, think about a person, what you like about them or whatever for you. And it's just like an actor, a good actor, and a good actor can communicate that or you or how you do that. And then you connect with the person. I want to help you. You stick out or whatever. The most important thing you can do is just express an eagerness to work. And then you need to be humble. Meaning, I'm ready to learn and do what you want. And then I want to work. I want to work. And I don't know who work hard and it would be me. I don't know who you are asking this question, but unfortunately, a lot of young people don't hear about it. They're more concerned about their personal lives, their free time, their working on their terms, and not really hungry to work, like we told you about earlier. And you can be those things, but you're obviously going to lose jobs to people that aren't. So you need to be able to go into every interview and give people the impression that you're going to work hard. You will not ask questions about remote work. You will not ask questions about hours. You will not ask questions about taking certain days off each month. You will not ask questions about being able to work less hours. You will not ask questions about things that are important to you and not important to the employer. You will not, anytime you do that, you can do that. That job doesn't pay anything and there's never going to get any other applicants, but people want to hire people to make them feel good about themselves. People want to hire people that want to work hard. People want to hire people that are humble and will take direction. A lot of times when they reason, they I know everything about this and everything about that, and they don't, they're not humble. And the most important thing is you make people you are speaking with feel important, right? You need to make people feel important. What does that mean? It means connecting with them, not, I remember I've been in law firms before, and there's always partners there and associates that may be socially awkward, not have business, but they're more important. So you need to make them feel important. If they see you come in, you have this giant personality and look like someone that's going to run all over them and represents the people that they've had the most trouble with in their personal lives as long as they've been around, then that's their business lives. That's not going to help you. So you need to be respectful, make people feel good about themselves, and come in and build rapport that. If you make people feel good about themselves, you tell people what they want to hear. You know something about the firm and what the person does. This is all going to help you a great deal. And the other thing too that a lot of people don't understand is when you go into interviewer should be speaking 80% of the time. And preferably in thinking about themselves or whatever, person should be speaking about themselves. Doesn't always happen, but you want the interviewer speaking a lot. So I was talking to someone yesterday, for example, his partner, and I only had a half-hour call, and I was just, do you have any business? Little question. And he went into this 10-minute diatribe saying, oh, I have these people I could develop business from, people that are doing this and doing that. This one thing might. And I was like, well, okay, the answer is no. You can't sit here and no, but I hope to bring in business. You can't sit here and do like a 10-minute, launch into a 10-minute discussion about how you don't have a business. You might get something. You just have to be very, very direct. So when you go into an interview, if you want to be, you also need to be very direct with your answers. And you want to basically get people to work hard and follow orders and do whatever it takes to do a good job. And then also communicate confidence, and then the final thing is like be the sort of person a client hires as well. What does that mean? So when you're working for any firm, your goal essentially is to be somebody that the client or be interested in hiring. So it just means you're essentially associates, non-equity partners, work for partners, and partners that work for partner that are their clients. That's hopefully that you're bringing your own. So that's all. When you're working for any law firm, you have to be the sort of person that the client would want to hire. Simple with that. But you have to come across in the same way that you would come across as if someone you just come in. I know this is a lot of but I wanted on this topic is when you go into virtual interviews, you really need to be much better. Someone asked if it was going to be recorded this time. The be recorded, I think it will go live in the probably within a week or basically. Due to various personal and professional reasons, I've changed jobs multiple times in the past 3 years. While each move is strategic, I worry that potential employers will view me as reliable. I'm finding salesmanship to address and overcome the stigma associated with frequent job change. What are some ways to remove positively and demonstrate my value? Okay, so the first thing is like when you things that may not be the word a lot, maybe when things are rough or challenging, whatever. So then it also says that client cannot depend clients the firm deal with relieving. So you need someone else needs to that safety and that. And then partners firm will not be well here. Time this plan out. And then you will hurt morale of the firm, hurt morale that's around. Never take work seriously. So this is sometimes people who do this, many people substance abuse problem. So meaning when found out. The things are, and again, if you're someone with substance abuse problems or people issues, your work stuff out over time for rehab and stuff. But the point is that when these things are happening, with if you're leaving firms too often, this is just these are not always considered positive because your idea might be, well, I left to go to a better firm or something that more match my interests, but then you can always go to a better firm. You can always go to some place to match your interests better. I don't know how many jobs move to, but if you're moving every 6 months, that's a little scary at firms. So what do you do if you're moving too often? One of the things you might want to do, consider if you really want to work with people or have people that, again, you could decide this your first year. Well, first year of practice, it doesn't matter. Some people don't like to work around people and a little bit prefer to have their own firms. And that may be you. Some people don't like practicing law. They just think about it. They don't like it. So some people find it difficult to get along in different employment organizations, work with other people. And there's all sorts of things that can happen that aren't really that big of a deal. Obviously, anyone that ever started a law firm, any law firm, didn't like working for another law. So this is a lot of this is maybe issues that you're uncomfortable with. Sometimes people will leave firms and tell you the reason. They're uncomfortable with criticism, or they are uncomfortable being in an office and working regular hours, or there's all sorts of reasons you need it. So I don't know that it's something really for you to worry about. So how do you sell yourself on getting a new position? Anytime you're looking for a job. So this is another important point that everyone should realize. So anytime you are looking for a job or a good job, we need to consider why you're the best applicant. Why are you the best applicant? Someone that's left or like every 6 months for 2 years, the best applicant. Why? What makes you the best applicant? All those people. So if you were considering someone that worked in your firm, if someone had worked in their last job for 6 months, the one before that 6 months, the one before that 6 months, you would take a look at that and you would realize that this person is probably going to leave again. That's what you would think. So would you be the best applicant? So the only way you're the best applicant, best applicants are not a lot of people like you, or not a lot of people find. So one of the things that I've done in my career, art people, is I here's send people to firms without openings. That's one of the things you can do. Now, in terms of strategic moves you were talking about, there are lots of reasons for strategic moves, and I don't know what your specific reasons are, but there's actually very good reasons for some strategic moves. So one example might be you started off the general intellectual property work, but you wanted to be a patent attorney. The firm you were at, you have a lot of patent work. So you went to a firm that had some patent work, lost their patent work, bigger firm that had patent work, but you wanted to do hard science, electrical engineering related patent work, and they had a mix of that in life sciences. Sometimes with very reasons for move. And you can, or the firm you're at dissolve, and the next one you're at to dissolve. So sometimes there's very good reasons for moves, but in most cases, the reasons for moving aren't really good enough. So that ends up holding you back. So you need to figure out how do you answer these questions and realize that these are all the things that people are thinking about when you move too often. I actually like this article. And then you have to think about what makes you the best applicant for this job. Because I'll guarantee you, the most law firms have an open will hire someone that is the best applicant. So sometimes, sometimes you get the best applicant just by having the best qualifications. I saw one firm that I thought was really dumb. They had this job. It was a mid-sized firm in Los Angeles, and they had this job for a candidate that I don't know, work law for big cap companies. And they decided they were going to hire this person who was a stellar applicant out of one of the best, largest law firms in Los Angeles. And I knew that they hired that person, they would leave very quickly and find a bigger firm with opportunities. The candidate they hired wasn't for me, but they just kept doing that over and over. Even though they hired for best applicant, for some firms, I guess the one would be the best applicant is the person with best paper qualification. And they're willing to overlook all those different things. But hiring someone that likely to leave is just not smart for hiring. So in order, you can often get jobs by, in my opinion, like how do you, from the best applicant, you apply to smaller markets. They apply to firms or education. That's how you will. A lot of time I'm practice. Okay, let's see what I hear next. The recent lots of graduates face some rejections despite having strong potential in internships or reputable firms. Each rejection is impacting confidence, making it harder to present myself assertively in subsequent interviews. What mindset shifts or techniques can I adopt for maintaining resilient and confident in my job search? How can I use the rejections as learning opportunities to improve my salesmanship in future interviews? So you may be not surprised to learn that when companies have products, the dealership for selling Ford, put ads on television and online and all these different things. And newspaper and trying to get people to subscribe or buy one of their cars, and people get rejected repeatedly. I thought it was funny that Elon Musk used to post on Twitter pictures of spaceships and things that he was for rockets and things about being exploding and all hell breaking. I've seen, I don't know how much into people that succeed often fail again and again. One book that I'd recommend everybody read, you read it again and again, is Think and Grow Rich. There are all these great stories about persistence, and it's a very known book. And you can actually find it for free online, but very good book. They have great chapter. They have a great chapter about persistence. And people that proceed always honestly will succeed. So you need to fully learning about the importance of persistence. So you should not take rejection as a law graduate or whatever strong credentials. You obviously got an internship in a way. If you're confident, you need to just keep going. So develop self-confidence. There are so many different ways to develop self-confidence. You can do it through, actually, Think and Grow Rich has self-confidence, but confidence that comes with finding the right firm for you and learning about things you may have done in the past that didn't work. You have to, figure out what that is. But you just have to keep trying. The more and more rejections, the more you'll learn how to change your approach. And so you just keep pushing forward. There's obviously something that maybe in your interviews that people don't like. What I would say is the most common thing is not putting self in the shoes of the employer. And what does that mean? Cost, more interest in your needs than the employer. So you need to hear to the employer about is the person much more interested in giving them what they want, paid hours, remote work, whatever, or time off, whatever makes it seem your needs is part of theirs. You just need to hear someone that is just there, willing to do whatever the frickin' thing, whatever they need. I will work like crazy. I'll give you deliver, all that sort of thing. Meet your employer, that impression when they talk to you. If you do that, you're going to be with them. And again, this goes for all young attorneys. I talk to law firms all day long, and they say young attorneys don't want to work and this and that. And you just have to get it through your head that people that are key in your generation are the ones that are work the hardest. Give employers and clients more of a want to. If you're a client, why would you want to go to an attorney that had all their needs front and center? It's crazy. So you have to think about every employer that you talk to as a potential client. I specialize in maritime, niche and limited all. I have substantial experience in a substantial network. I find it hard to differentiate myself from other experienced candidates. How do I use salesmanship to effectively differentiate myself from niche legal market like maritime law? What specific tactics can I use to highlight my skills and experience to potential employers? So I don't know how senior you are. I don't know anything about your background specifically. One of the things all practice areas I want to make everyone really aware of is what do people do that are able to get the most jobs generally do. And one of the things they do, a couple of things they do is what you have, they have focused resumes on their practice areas. So they look very focused on what they do, which helps a lot. Their experience on their resume report comes across as very focused on their practice area. They also have a lot of enthusiasm. The people that do the best will often have a transaction sheet of their corporate attorney that is appended to their resume that kind of talks about all the different deals and things they've done. Litigation attorneys will often have sheets in the back of their resume that talk about particular litigation things they'll talk about. The same thing with real estate attorneys and patent attorneys. Anybody who looks enthusiastic about their practice here will often even have a one-page resume, but then they might have a 2 or 3 page list of transactions. Well, that's very, and if you want to differentiate yourself, that's one of the smartest things to do is to look like someone that looks enthusiastic compared to other people. So that's one. The other thing you need to do to differentiate yourself is to make sure that your resume is focused only on your practice area, looks the most focused. Then the other thing you want to do is if you're looking for positions, then you want to apply to firms that don't have openings, especially maritime law. I'm familiar with that practice area, and I'm in my career, at least in the maritime practice. So transaction, activity sheet. So most people, this shows interest and commitment. So what does that mean? Then this goes forever. So, once you've been practicing for a few years, you should, because you love what you do, you should have transaction sheets or things that talk about all the stuff you've done. And very few people do this, but the people who do always get jobs. So you have a second page of your resume, and you use significant transactions or significant litigation, and you list different things you've been involved in. Employers love that. No one misses it. And the ones that do get jobs. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. If I was a maritime attorney, I would be applying to work with other firms that do that and people that do that. I've already worked with them and just say, hey, this is who I am. If you know anyone would be interested in some of my experience, I'd love to pass it along. But you don't have to actually ask for a job. You can just do that. Wonder if you can help me in the right direction. Just or notarized, right? From attorneys doing that. Even from even write other associates in different firms. And that's one. I recommend a transaction sheet. I recommend writing people. I recommend perhaps you want to work in a law firm or not. You contact potential client. Then the other thing I would recommend doing, I don't know how well it works, but on law processing, I look for law processing archives where you can, look up old jobs. I don't even work, but I'm giving some of the and then either go list and ranking, just trying to find as many firms as possible. The biggest way to differentiate yourself is to have a very strong transaction related sheet. Something that talks about your matters. There's very few people are that are, psyched up about the practice area. What can you do? Can you write articles? Can you committees, all that stuff? So you have to look like very enthusiastic. And then the final thing I would just say is a send a resume must know not leave with your friend. So what does that mean? You don't talk about, talk about, I don't know, talk about creative privacy, other privacy or or other practice areas unrelated to marriage. So sometimes people may do something like they'll have I'm sorry to talk so much about this. They'll have a resume that says drugs offer in Florida or that might have a maritime, that all the stuff, posted with maritime, I don't know, like 2010, you might have something like that. And then you'll have your next law firm, which might be the Jones law firm, the 2008. And that it might have all this stuff talks about, real estate, construction, real estate law, and then all this stuff about that. So that's corporate, whatever that is. You don't want to talk about anything but maritime. You would just say, instead of that, you would just say associate, whatever. And not talk a lot about your experience. Not list anything. Just make sure that everything is about maritime. That's all you want people to think when they see it. So someone else has a question about the Ontario legal community and how it's different from the U.S. What are the best ways to get a job in Ontario? I have no idea. Sorry, I don't. I'm actually finding I grew up right next to there was a bridge and a tunnel going there. I don't know anything about practice and law. All right, well, thank you for being on this webinar, everyone. This topic this week was a lot more interesting. last we talk about bill hours and economics. And so next week should also be pretty interesting topic. And, thank you for being here. Have a good rest of your day.